Hello fellow pirates, my name is Desnes and today we're talking about the writers and actors strike. The strike is over, agreements were made, and I invited a special guest to talk about it. Say hello to Noah from Pork Chop Rice and Peaches.
Fellow Nakama, thanks for having me on, Desnes.
From everybody who don't know him, he and his fathers discuss movies, comics, stories and characters on their channel. Check out their channel, first link in the description.
He was riding a bicycle on water.
You are in the center of it all, I guess. Maybe you can tell us why exactly, Noah?
Yeah, I am a stunt actor and a member of the Screen Actors Guild of America.
Yeah, the writer strike and the SAG-AFTRA strike have concluded both, and we can finally talk about all of it. So first of all, the writer strike was the one that went from May 2nd to September 27th, I guess, and was for the writers, so the people that write the stories and stuff. The SAG-AFTRA strike, which means Screen Actors Guild, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was from July 14th to November 9th.
Yes.
So it was with 118 days. You said something like the longest one?
Yes. The longest strikes, two of the longest concurrent strikes in Hollywood history.
So I realized that many people like me that are outside of the US didn't had something to wrap our heads around how big this really is, because strikes happen all the time here and most of the strikes people aren't really involved in them. It's a continuous thing, but from what I got from the people that are talking about it, it was something completely different. Can you tell us about why it was so important this time?
Yeah, there was a lot to this strike, and I even pulled up the actual agreement so that I can reference it.
Yeah, cool.
In this discussion. But first off, the deals that the union makes with the AMPTP, which is the Association or Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, they have to be renegotiated every few years.
Okay.
And this one was just a scheduled renegotiation in the beginning, but there were a lot of big new issues that they wanted to get addressed, and the biggest of which is artificial intelligence. I mean, the details of it take up 4.5 pages of a PDF file. It is a massive set of new agreement rules with the use of artificial intelligence.
So there wasn't any agreement about artificial intelligence before?
No, I think any agreements were very, very minimum. It's because it's such a new technology. I mean, we've seen it on YouTube all the time. People are able to replicate voices and make their own skits with them, which it can be funny, it can be great, but that it did have a big potential impact on actors. If you can replicate someone's voice with artificial intelligence, then there is the possibility that someone's going to exploit that.
And we're just in the beginning of it all. So it's like a whole, it could be something way, way more or way, way less, but we're just in the beginning to see over that.
It was a preemptive action, actually. They saw the potential that artificial intelligence the potential damage it could do to acting careers. They kind of got the jump on it, which is really awesome.
The SAG-AFTRA strike started when the writer's strike already began. So was this a situation like it also needed to be rewritten, so it felt like in the same time slot, or was it because of the writer's strike that the SAG-AFTRA strike could go in the same direction?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the contracts were both up at the same time. So it was a coincidence that the negotiations were so close together. But when our unions strike, they have to have a member vote. So the members have to vote to give the union authorization to strike. Yeah. I think with the writers' strike, it definitely helped persuade a lot of people to vote in favor of a strike authorization.
Yeah, it was definitive effective that both of them were at the same time, I guess, because everybody talked about it. I saw so many people jumping on the topic with celebrities and TV shows. And how would you say, as a comparison, what is the conclusion first, maybe? for the SAG-AFTRA strike?
First, I should say, I want to clarify out of the way, I am not a union rep. I'm a member. My opinions are my own specifically, and I would be sticking to what has been laid out by the union. I'm using union source. I am not a negotiator for the union. I'm not necessarily a spokesperson. I'm a member, and this is my perspective, experience, and all that. Just going to get the legal mumbo jumbo out of the way. So the conclusion of this, I already discussed artificial intelligence. I'll get into that in just a second. But the first off, there's a basic pay increase across the board. All people who are SAG essentially are going to get a pay increase to contracts on productions moving forward. There are individual rates for background, for stunt actors, for principal actors, and those have now increased, which is really nice. The use of artificial intelligence, they have established rules for the use of artificial intelligence. Essentially, if a company wants to use artificial intelligence to replicate an actor's appearance or their voice or both, they need to immediately acquire consent and be completely transparent on their intended use of it. They're not allowed to use it outside of the production that any agreement was made for. So if I give consent for my likeness to be used on, let's say, the next Marvel movie, they can't turn around and use it on the Marvel movie after that.
Yeah.
It can only be used on that. So they can't make a database of faces and voices and just superimpose them in the background. And I've had that actually done to me before, just not with artificial intelligence. I was an extra on Black Adam.
Oh.
I was a mercenary in Black Adam. I was just one of the guys in the desert in like the first, I want to say it was like the first 20 minutes. There's a big fight scene.
Okay, now I have to rewatch it.
Well, it's blink and you miss it because I just look like one of the other dudes. What they had done was they got a lot of shots of us running on sand to make it look like we're in the desert. And then they told us what was going on up front because it's a CGI battle. Obviously, it's essentially Superman, but not a nice guy. It's a scene where he claps his hands and it sends a shockwave and all the mercenaries around him go flying. Essentially what they did was they got the shot of us running so that they could put him in it. And then when he clapped his hands, everyone goes away. They took a 360 photograph of all the background extras and then took that and made it like a video game skin and put it on a 3D model for the actual effect of us flying away. And they told us in advance. But that's the sort of thing that companies could do with artificial intelligence and be a lot sneakier about if they have an actor's likeness. And that's kind of where this artificial intelligence set of rules that SAG has gotten an agreement for. That's the sort of thing that they're trying to prevent ahead of time. Yeah, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's definitely a win. As someone within the strike, how hard was it to... I can't imagine it because I was so overhyped for the One Piece live action and for other projects. I can't imagine to just be silent about everything. I know it's the part of it, but yeah.
Oh, it was rough because I was so excited. I was so excited for it, and I really wanted to talk about it. We only released like 1 or 2 videos during that time on our YouTube channel because YouTube's a social media, and during the strike they said do not promote struck companies or struck properties on your social media. So it was really, really hard to come up with content. So we just kind of agreed that okay, we're gonna pause and we'll come back with the One Piece live action. It got really frustrating because my dad, who is just being introduced to it, he tries to keep his reactions to himself before we record.
Oh, that's cool.
And so do I. I try to keep a lot of my stuff to myself before we record so that we are reacting to each other fresh. He really wanted to talk about it. He really wanted to talk about it. So we ended up having to pre-record it. So it was already recorded and written. I just couldn't drop it until after the strike was over. In terms of, I wanted to be on social media. I wanted to be on Twitter or Instagram or everywhere, just being like, dude, this is so cool. I love this. I wanted to talk to everyone about it. And it's like, I can't. I can't.
I was really sad that it was the same time when the One Piece live action released, because I want to talk as much as I could about it, and there were people that not even said to me, okay, they won't talk about it with me because they're associated with people in the strike, or they are in the strike right now. But other than that, people wrote me that I shouldn't do any One Piece live action stuff because of that, and it was so difficult to handle this with the critique and the stuff. But it worked out in well, I guess the One Piece live action was a success, so it didn't hurt the live action at any point. You win the live action one, so win-win for all, I guess.
It kind of is, and I'll just say on that note, there was never a consensus on whether non-union members should. I remember this being a big debate right when the strike started. Whether non-union members should, stand in solidarity. And by no means am I an expert on this. I just know that SAG never issued a statement on it. They only issued statements on what members could do during the strike.
Yeah.
And there were arguments on both sides. It's like, don't support the companies because, if you stand with the actors and tell the companies that you're not going to support them, that's one thing. I saw people arguing the opposite, that if these projects succeed and then the companies are hurting for cash afterwards, it'll tell them that they need to come to a deal quicker because they had a successful, the live action was a super huge success and they want to get the next season out as soon as possible and make more money. And if they keep the strike going, it's going to be longer. That's something that I'm just presenting those sides. I'm not taking a side on that one because I don't know what the answer was, and SAG never actually issued an answer on that I saw. I stayed in my lane. I did my job as a member, as a striking member, and it's just there was so many sides to it. So sorry you had to get comments like that though. Like, you're doing your thing, and it's your job that you're doing on your YouTube.
I can understand it at some places, and if it's all just critique and not saying stuff to me or something like that, that it's all fine. And I think everyone can decide for themselves how they stand in this thing when they're not a member of it. In the end, it turned out fine for every side, I guess, and it's really cool. Other than that, you will have plenty of more seasons to watch with your dad, it seems, because it's very successful. So
oh, incredibly
just get excited for season 2, I guess. And I
want to be on it, man. That's my goal. I'm gunning for it. Definitely. I'm gunning to be on it.
We already got Randy Troy in the project. I don't know if you're affiliated with his channel yet. Randy Troy is a One Piece YouTuber that makes videos for over 6 years, I guess. And he makes theories and stuff, and many videos about the One Piece live action, because he himself is not an actor, but I guess assistant for a director, something like that.
An assistant director? A PA?
I don't know the specific term. I can write it in the video, in the description and stuff, but he's definitely in the writer's room right now and writing the story for season 2. So it's possible
that's awesome.
that you can end up like that.
I'm gunning. I'm telling you, I'm gunning for it.
Yeah.
I'm gunning.
Awesome. For me personally, the whole One Piece live action was a passion project from 2 writers. A. Eiichiro Oda, sitting in Japan, and B. Matt D. Owens, who wrote the script for it and initiated the whole plan. These writers are responsible for the whole thing that turned out so good. This is really sad for me personally, that it's a passion project from 2 writers and they can't talk about it at all at the time it released. So that was really hard to wrap your head around, that they can't talk about it. Only the actors that aren't in the strike could talk about it.
Most of them, I believe, are foreign actors, and foreign actors have different unions.
Yeah, and
I'm
they
pretty sure
recorded all
Taz is
in.
from the British side of things, and Makainu's from the Japan side of things. So they're not going to be. They might have SAG contracts.
Yeah, they recorded it in Africa,
Yeah,
and many actors and staff and stuff were from Africa or from around the world. So
the only part of the One Piece live action that was associated with the strike was the publisher, which was Netflix.
yeah, and if it
Yep.
were a project where it's a completely new story made up from a Netflix writer and stuff, I would completely agree, go silent about it and release it later or stuff. But it was a passion project for Oda, and he really wanted to break through with this project, and he really did in the end. I was worried, but in the end it turned out good for both sides, so yeah, win-win.
Yep.
To close it all off, can you say how the writer's strike was perceived and what changed after that in the public or in general?
The negotiations are always ongoing. Changes have to be made constantly. Updates to old contracts have to exist. A good point for this is the existence of residuals, which I'm not sure how many people are aware of the residual model, but it's a payment model for actors, stunts, background, actually not background usually. People like primary actors and stunt actors, where you get paid for your likeness being used past the initial run of the project, is like the best layman's terms to put it in. Actually, I did a movie during the strike. I'll put it this way: which signed a agreement that said that they would abide by the results of the negotiations, and they were allowed to continue filming. So I got to work, and this was right at the beginning of the strike too, and they were very close to being done with the project anyway, so that's why they wanted to keep it going, which obviously makes the point that the companies totally can uphold the negotiations, uphold all these agreements, all these things that the union was asking for. These companies totally could provide if all these small projects are willing to provide it without even seeing the end result. But the residuals model is where I perform in a movie and the movie has its theater run, but then say it gets released on TV. Well, it still makes money when it goes on TV, is making it from commercials. So if my face was shown, I'm entitled to a percentage of that profit, that revenue that it makes from its reruns on TV. And then they pay me for that. That's how the cast of Friends got super rich. They got super rich off reruns. They made millions of dollars off of reruns because it was replayed so much, and that's the residual model. Well, residuals became very, very weird when streaming services came about. That was one of the big things that this did, establish a better residual model for streaming services specifically, like Netflix. So all the SAG actors that worked on One Piece just got a much better paycheck afterwards because of this deal, and they hopefully will get better deals moving forward.
Yeah, that's really a win-win. Yeah, really exciting. Maybe you can give us a quick vision into the next few videos that we can expect on your channel and what the future of the channel is looking like.
Yeah, on Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches. So, for those unacquainted, Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches is my dad and I discuss movies, TV, books, sometimes video games, and we do it in a conversation format. We call them kitchen table conversations. On Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches, we're going to get back into our groove. We've got some movies we want to talk about. Some, I think, A Knight's Tale, which is a Heath Ledger movie. We're gonna have a video of that up in the next coming week. He's gonna watch a few of the DC movies, and we have a conversation scheduled for I think Batman versus Superman. And he's of course started his One Piece journey. So as we continue to make our normal videos about movies and TV, he will be dropping his One Piece reactions as he makes his way through it. He loved the live action, and he My mom actually loved it too and started the anime, and he's been watching it over her shoulder.
So they are on episode what right now?
Oh, my mom watches it faster than he does, but my mom is at least at Alabasta.
Ooh, so she's already ending the season 2 in her head. Awesome.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, and he's slowly he's going to start working his way through the manga because she got way ahead of him.
Yeah.
But that is what is the future of our channel. We will be continuing our shtick, and he'll be working his way through One Piece. It'll be a good time.
Thank you, Noah, for being here and talking with me about it. And yeah, I'm excited to see new videos with your father, of course.
Hey, thanks for having me on today. This was a great conversation.
And that's all. Thank you, Noah, for being here. Subscribe to Pork Chop Rice and Peaches. First link in the description. And we see us next time with more Opla stuff. So let's set sail.